Hello, Internet! Welcome to another episode of the Engram here, exclusively on, well, not really exclusively anywhere. It's on Gkick, it's on iTunes, and of course, right here on YouTube. Hey everybody. This is usually where people watch it. So, I just released an episode covering the weekly update, but, since then, patch 1.0.3 has been released, and there's a lot of info to talk about. So we're going to do that right now. Now, it is 2:30 in the morning, where I am right now. I work in about 6 hours. But here I am, doing this because I can't sleep. So we're going to talk about the updates to the patch. Some of them we talked about in the last episode because they were in the weekly update. But we're going to just talk specifically about what is in this patch. And if you haven't logged in since this update hit, then you're in store for some cool stuff. So first and foremost, one of the big things that we knew about was the addition of a match-made voice channel. So if you enter a match-made item, such as a strike or crucible or something like that, then you will be able to communicate with your teammates through voice chat, if you want to. You don't have to, but of course you can. A few issues. There's a lot of fixes that came with this patch too. I'm not going to go through every single fix. I just really want to talk about the new stuff. They added the items for Iron Banner 2.0. So the new Iron Banner stuff is now in the game, so all they have to do is just flick the switch when they want to start Iron Banner. So that stuff is good to go. Now, one of the things that they mentioned they were going to be working on was adding additional public events, which basically means, you know, when you're out and about on patrol or whatever, the odds of getting a public event are now increased by 10 to 15% depending on where you are and what you're doing and what's going on. So, good stuff. So more public events is always good. It's a great way to earn experience and great way to hit those bounties. Especially when you get the bounty for 3 gold medals. Nice to hit those all in one sitting, you know, if you can. Now, some of the features that they added were also some of the things that were announced for the expansion, the Dark Below. They increased the number of bounty slots from 5 to 10. Huge change. This is something I've personally been really looking forward to because, well, to be perfectly honest, I hate having to juggle my bounties. And I had to do that a lot. You know, you'd get your 5 bounties, or 10 bounties, or however many are up, and you have to decide, okay, which ones am I going to take to do right now? You know, sometimes you'll get a bounty that's going to send you to Venus, some that'll send you to the moon. I usually focus on the PvE bounties. I know some players will focus on the PvP ones, but I usually focus on PvE ones for Vanguard rep or whatever. I do Vanguard rep. And the problem there, of course, is that I may not have the space for it, especially if you have exotic bounties. So that limits you down to, you know, let's say you get an exotic bounty, now you're already cut down to 4 spots, and, you know, what do? You're already down to 4. So then you have to juggle bounties around. But with the additional 5 slots, this is huge. It's going to make life a lot easier. It's more of along the lines of a quality of life update than anything else. Shaders have been added to Eva Levante's stock in the tower. So, new shaders, always nice. So you can go check those out. A shader preview functionality on that same vein has finally been added into the game. So now, instead of having to rely on websites or anything like that, and this is something I talked about previously that I really wanted to see, was the addition of a shader preview function. And they have added that to the game here. Emblems can also be previewed in the inventory screen. They've done some adjustments to the UI to better differentiate marks and rep icons. So that's a little nice thing. And also just some other fixes along the same vein there. Now, some of those changes, you know, a lot of them are not massive things, but I always love it when little changes happen that prove that Bungie is clearly listening to the players, and clearly implementing little simple things that are mainly quality of life things that just improve the experience. And that's what it really comes down to, is, there are a lot of things that need to be fixed. There are a lot of things that need to be improved. But taking these simple steps and knocking off some of these really basic, relatively minor things that players want proves that they're putting forth the effort that we really want to see. So it's a nice touch for everything. So a lot of little adjustments have been made to PvP, to not skirmishes, but to Crucible in general. A few adjustments to some of the PvP maps have also been made to either repair bugs or remove exploits and things like that, and just make them a little easier to navigate. The HUD has undergone a lot of updates here. Being able to clearly see grenade and melee recharge states has been improved. The visibility of objectives and the motion tracker has been improved. Just a lot of little things to make it easier to see what's going on, what you're doing, where you're going, and where your statuses are as far as in the game. So that makes life very nice. Another little thing is they've added the version number to the login screen. Sounds fairly minor, but it's nice to at least know what version of the game you're playing, when you're in there. And again, more and more fixes just kind of in general. This patch was pretty big, and it contained a lot of fixes across the board. And a lot of just minor adjustments. And of course, again, working more on the kick to orbit issues, which are fairly consistent, from patch to patch, from day to day. And yeah, so a pretty big deal is this patch. And I know that statement doesn't really make much sense, but there's a lot of really good stuff here. Additionally, they have added in new activities, new activity types, and a bunch of new items into the game that are all kind of tied into the expansion. So they may not be available right now, but we're going to start to see that stuff when the expansion launches on December 9th and leading up to that. So all in all, this is a really significant patch. Probably one of the most significant that they have introduced into the game as of right now. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm eager to see. I'm eager to finally get some significant content like this into the game, some significant adjustments and changes, and mostly just seeing how they very clearly want to improve the player experience. And it all just comes down to the little changes like this. Proving that while the big sweeping adjustments and changes aren't going to come as quickly, and really can't, it's the little things that also help. And as a player who comes from a lot of experience with Blizzard and their games, one of the things that always really strikes me is when a company does this sort of stuff, and they make the effort to tweak the little things, change the little things. Like, they've updated icons in this patch to better represent in-game items, things like spin metal and relic iron and things like that. They changed the icons to better represent the actual in-game item. What company's really going to think about that? That's a very small item on the list of things that needs to happen, but it's a fairly simple one. So they took care of it. Cross it off the list, move on to the next thing. So I'm very optimistic about the future of Destiny. I'm very optimistic about what we're going to get going forward. And to be perfectly honest, I am excited to get in here and check out the new patch once my thumb heals up a little bit, because it's getting a little tricky. If you have been watching my other channel, or not really the other channel, but the other show on this channel, The Game Hole, I've got some time in Grand Theft Auto 5. My review on that will be coming shortly. I'm also going to get a review on WWE 2K15, which will be happening soonish. But yeah, a lot of stuff is coming, so stay tuned to this channel, not only for Destiny stuff, but also for general gaming stuff. I'm really happy to have all your subscribers and all of your views and everybody kind of checking stuff out. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, @GKickShalthis, link's in the description. You can also like me on Facebook, link is also in the description. I will see you all next time. Thank you so much, and for my YouTube folks, here is your moment of zen. Happy hunting, Guardians. I'll see you next time.